Thelma, I want to talk to you.
Well, you can't, not here.
Why are you being so unreasonable?
I'm not being unreasonable.
Yes, you are. Why are you in such a state?
I'm not in a state.
Yes, you are. You've just put human sexual response under hobbies.
Don't you recognise the symptoms? It's shock. It's delayed shock. It's the shock of knowing that Terry Collier is back in this town.
Am I to blame for that? Is it my fault he decides to return home now to his own hometown?
It just seems funny to me that he comes out of the army now, just before we're getting married.
Oh, I was to blame for that. I wrote to the War Office. I said, please, could Corporal Collier have a compassionate discharge so he can come home now and drag me from the altar?
Well, that's what he'd like to do.
He's changed. He's a different person. He's not the same person anymore. 5 years is a long time.
Why did you two break your journey last night? I mean, halfway home, why did you suddenly get off the train? Because he was putting the doubts in, that's why. There will now be a short intermission for second thoughts.
That's not the case at all. Tell me, you're being absurd. Absurd.
Why else would you get off at Doncaster in the middle of the night?
We were seduced by the distant sounds of merriment, laughter and depravity. Ho, Porter, we said, what goes on? What goes on, man? It's Mardi Gras. It's carnival time. Young virgins knotted flowers in our hair. People swayed to primitive jungle rhythms. And couples copulated the length of the Doncaster bypass. If you haven't been at Doncaster at Mardi Gras, you haven't lived. Oh.
He's back. Terry Collier's back.
What's the matter? What have you done?
God.
What have you done?
Just put my foot on the boiling bloody kettle, that's all.
What for?
What do you mean, what for?
Well, why would you put your foot on a boiling kettle? I mean, what a daft thing to do.
Well, I didn't do it on purpose. Do you think I did it on purpose? Do you think I deliberately and intentionally sustained myself first-degree burns?
Well, you gave me ever such a shock yelling like that. I thought you'd had an accident.
I have had an accident. Well, what do you want, anyway?
Milk, no sugar, please.
Round here, I meant.
I've come to see you, haven't I? I've come to extend the hand of friendship and welcome on this, the first day of your freedom. Oh, come on, cheer up, man. Today's supposed to be a day of great joy and celebration for your family and your friends and the shareholders of the Scottish and Newcastle breweries.
Joy and celebration, you what? My mum and dad aren't even home. 5 years I've been gone, not counting leaves. 5 years of hardship and toil, solitude and self-sacrifice. And what happens? I get back, the keys under the mat, there's no heat in the house, and a packet of frozen cod balls in the fridge.
Wasn't there even a note?
No, I'm allergic to fish.
Not fish and chips, you're not.
Well, it's different. It's a different sort of fish, that.
Oh, bring up your Audrey, man. She'll know where they are.
There's no heat in this house, you know. The bed's not aired. This milk's probably sour. No paper. Wireless needs a new battery. I've a good mind to sign on again.
It's not like your folks to be away, is it?
Didn't sleep a wink. Not a wink. Sat by the window and watched the dawn come up, I did. You know, Bob, watching the dawn come up over this town, watching the sun rise up over the terraced houses and the brewery, and over the glue works and the distant shot tower of the lead factory, well, it must be one of the most ugly sights in this world.
You were lucky to see as much as you did.
Made me wonder why I'd ever come back. I started feeling homesick for the army. I started thinking, you know, about all the places and the lads. Been with them a long time, some of them. Been through a lot together. Hughie McLaren now? I was with him since basic training. Next beds for 5 years.
I'm surprised there wasn't talk.
You wouldn't understand the friendships that are forged in combat.
Combat?
Taffy Lewis, I was with him in Germany. I was with him the night he brained a second lieutenant with a hock bottle.
Combat.
2 years in the glass house they gave him for that. Still, he'd met up with old Clarky there. Little Chippy was sent up soon after.
You got in with quite a nice set, then.
What's that supposed to mean?
Well, to hear you talk, you'd think you'd just been released from prison, not the forces.
They were a good lot of lads, them.
What were they known as, the Dirty Dozen?
I trust Tuffy Lewis with my life. Not me wallet, but certainly me life.
Well, all that's in the past now, isn't it? All that's behind you now. It's time to make plans and forge ahead and build a future.
Oh, well, some of us have been able to, haven't we? Some of us have been able to forge ahead and build a future, while some of us were serving Queen and country, keeping these shores safe, so that some of us could safely get on with forging ahead and building a future, while some of us not so fortunate couldn't.
Pardon?
You've obviously done all right for yourself. A mortgage and a car. Got a few premium bonds, have you? And I bet Thelma's got a little something stuffed away for a rainy day in the post office.
You've never liked Thelma, have you?
It's the other way around, mate.
No, you've always resented her. Oh, God, I can just see my life stretching ahead of me. My marriage is going to be like a tennis match, with you and Thelma serving for advantages over each other. I'll just be the ball that's bashed from one to the other, trying to love all. I might as well make plans for the divorce now. No point in wasting time. Mental cruelty, I suppose you'd come under.
Well, it's certainly not going to be adultery.
You might as well have the house. Only fair, only fair. Hey, I'm off. I'm supposed to be at the house now, decorating.
Was it worth it?
What?
Well, if she's going to have the house, she might at least hang her old wallpaper.
You know what you are, don't you? You'd be what's referred to as a just cause and impediment.
I am a wounded ex-serviceman simply trying to get back into society, that's all I am. A society that obviously doesn't want me. Oh!
Now what's the matter?
Me foot.
Hey! What? Why don't you go up to your Audrey's, man, up to your sister. She'll be ever so surprised to see you. And when she says, hey, where have you come from? You can say, I've come hot foot from our house.
Hello, Terry.
Hello, Stan.
Mind, I haven't seen you for a long time. On leave, are you?
Finished. Got back last night.
Get away. You're looking fit.
I'm full of cold.
Ah, well, you'll feel the cold up here. That wind gets right through you. You were in tropics, weren't you?
More or less.
Just off to see your Audrey, are you?
Aye. Cup of tea.
Ah, you'll be having a few bevies this week, eh?
More than likely.
Ah, you'll have a grand time. The welcome mat. Home is the hero, eh? The big hello.
Good God, it's you.
Is that all you can say to your little brother after 5 years?
Wipe your feet.
Home is the hero. Where's me mum and dad?
Well, they've gone to your Uncle Norman's funeral.
Who?
Uncle Norman.
Hey?
In Carlisle.
Hi. How is he?
How do you expect him to be at his own funeral?
I'm sorry. Well, he had a good innings, hadn't he? How old was he? 80 what?
94.
Well, when are they coming back?
Well, they've gone to your auntie's for a day or two. She's 90, you know.
Hardly worth them coming home, is it? Save themselves a double journey.
What a terrible thing to say, our Terry.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm just not in the best frame of mind this morning. I didn't get back till 6 o'clock. House was like ice. There weren't enough sheets. Couldn't find a hot water bottle, and I'm full of cold.
Well, you needn't come breathing your germs round here, not with a baby.
What baby?
We had another one 6 months ago.
What make?
Go, Emma Fleur.
Fleur?
F-L-E-U-R. You know, like in the Forsyte saga. It means flower in French. We haven't told you.
Mail didn't always get through some of the places I've been.
We've been in devises for the last 6 months.
Officially. Look, I couldn't just stay here, could I? Just till the folks get back. I feel awful. The damp's not off playing this up.
Oh, what's the matter with your leg?
I'll never talk about it.
Well, why can't you go and stay at Bob's?
Darling, she wouldn't let me.
His mother?
No, Thelma, the fiancée, she wouldn't hear of it. Oh, it's awful at home, Audrey, man. It's empty, there's no food, and you can never get a decent picture on that set.
Well, you can't stop here. Not with that cold. I couldn't take the risk. If one of us gets it, we'll all go down with it. And Wayne's very chesty.
Who's Wayne?
Oh, for God's sake, Terry, he's your godson.
Oh, that Wayne. I thought for a minute you got married again.
And you owe him for 4 birthdays, 4 Christmases and a christening. We'll accept premium bonds, you never know your looks.
What a welcome.
Do you want a cup of tea? They're only tea bags, but there's some cream crackers on the table there.
I didn't expect the freedom of the city. I didn't expect a champagne buffet with the mayor and a march past. But you know, when you've been away for 5 years serving your queen and country, you expect to come back to a little more than a cup of tea and a cream cracker.
Please don't take sugar.
And all the orders, wipe your feet, don't sneeze.
And don't sit there. I've just ironed that lot.
Good God.
Terry? Terry? Is that you?
Oh, it's tying the shoelace.
What shoelace?
Oh, no, I got the tongue tangled up with the toenail. How are you then?
Come up to see the house, did you?
No, I was just passing. I didn't know it was your house. I've been up to our orderlies. I was just passing. I didn't know it was your house. Is this your house? Coincidence, eh?
All right. There she is.
Hey, it's a canny little house, though, but...
We haven't got a name for it yet.
Well, you'll certainly need one, won't you? Or you'll never find it again. Rows of them.
No, they're not. They're quite different. Our living room's 16 by 12. They're 15 by 13 down there.
Must be blind.
Underfloor central heating. We've decided to be all electric with plenty of points. They're well-made jobs, aren't they?
This wall plumb?
What? Well, of course it is. What makes you think it isn't?
Oh, nothing. Just that I've got an instinct for that sort of thing. There's a nasty crack in that plaster.
Where? Oh, that's just settlement, isn't it? There's bound to be a bit of that, bound to be a few teething troubles, like having a new car.
Been having trouble with that and all?
No, I haven't been having that trouble with that and all. Apart from the starter motor.
15. I only make it 15.
What?
15, definitely.
Well, it depends what size shoe you take, doesn't it? You've always had a large foot.
What the hell is that? The guillotine?
Yes, well, I admit that is something that needs fixing.
I've broken me finger.
No, you haven't, man. You haven't broken it. Not if you can wiggle it about.
Get off!
Sorry. Have you noticed the windows? Bags of light. It's a feature of these houses.
Well, it makes it overlooked, doesn't it? I mean, being so cramped, there's not much privacy, is there?
Privacy? Compared to what we were brought up in, this is Woburn Abbey. You think the houses we lived in as kids, if you sneezed, they said, bless you next door.
No, but them houses had some character about them. There's just something depressing about these estates. Just the thought of you all getting up at the same time, all eating the same sort of low-calorie breakfast cereal, all coming home at 6:30, switching on the same programme at the same time and having it off the same 2 nights of the week.
Chance to personalise it yet. Once everybody moves in and does their own decorating and choosing all the curtains and that. Got a flair for that kind of thing, as Thelma. We're having mauve and seaweed green.
At least that's unusual.
We were going to have yellow, but they're having that next door.
Ah, well, that's it. I mean, that's me point, isn't it? You've said it all. It just seems sad to me when you realise that the only way people can tell the difference between you and anybody else is by the colour of your curtains.
Well, what's wrong with being the same as everyone else? What's wrong with trying to make a little bit of modest progress? I've worked hard the last 5 years, and this is what I've got to show for it. This and the car. Might not mean much to the Burtons, but it means a hell of a lot to me. And what's so special about your lifestyle? You're homeless, jobless, carless, and single. What does that amount to? Terry Collier, bachelor pedestrian. Oh, I'm sorry, kid. That wasn't a very nice thing to say. Stupid, anyway. I mean, why should all this appeal to you, eh? I mean, you don't want to be lumbered with a house and a wife that's not your scene. Can you see you married? With all those birds out there? I was always the one falling in love all over the place. But not you. You're a born bachelor, aren't you?
Ah, you're right.
Naturally independent.
True, true.
There you are, then.
Only one problem.
What?
I'm married.
Pardon?
I'm married. I am a married man. Well, say something, then. Haven't you got anything to say?
Have you got a bottle opener?
What for?
I need a drink. Right, now start at the beginning. Don't skip around. Start at the top. I want it all.
Look, Bob, look, this is the story of my marriage, not the serial on Woman's Hour.
It's the story of the century, mate. It's so unreal. It's like me getting a life peerage. Or Hartlepool winning promotion.
Well, I'm glad you're going to get so much fun out of it. Why don't you invite all your mates round, eh? Perhaps I can give a talk at the Institute and illustrate it with landslides, and you can all sit round peeing yourselves at my misfortune.
Misfortune?
Wounds are deep. The scars have not yet healed.
Sorry, I didn't realise.
I've only just learned to live with it.
Please, forget it, mate. Don't talk about it. If it hurts you too much, don't feel you have to tell it all. Just give me the recorded highlights.
You can't wait, can you?
I'm sorry.
During the course of my military career, 2 things happened which have left an imprint on me for the rest of my life.
The leg.
Apart from that I can live with. No. The first was when I got mortal one night in Hamburg and got tattooed on my left buttock. The second was on a rainy afternoon in November '69 when Jutta Baumgarten, spinster of the parish of Mönchengladbach, and I got married.
Incredible.
Fact.
Was she
Funnily enough, she wasn't.
rich dad?
Well, not especially. I suppose he had a few pfennigs put to one side and nothing more.
Love?
That's your last alternative, isn't it? She's not in the club, she's not loaded, so this must be love.
Oh, sorry, mate. I'm just going on what I know of you. Your priorities were always firmly worked out. Do you or don't you, darling? As long as she did, you weren't fussy. You'd have had a frog if you'd stopped hopping long enough.
I'm not denying that I put it about a bit. All I am saying is that I am capable of deeper emotions than wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. I'm not the person you used to know. I know now that there's more to life than the physical. I know now there's more to people than the way they look. I've changed.
So, sex didn't come into it?
Of course sex came into it. I haven't changed all that much.
We had no idea. Wasn't in the local paper. Your parents never said anything?
Well, they wouldn't, would they? They were dead against it. You know how me dad feels about the Germans. Won't even accept a lift in our Audrey's Volkswagen.
What went wrong?
What went right? I suppose it was all just a question of communication. No point of contact. Can't spend all your time in bed.
No. You had nothing else in common?
Difficult to say. She didn't speak English. And I certainly wasn't going to learn German.
Perhaps a child would have helped. Or an interpreter.
Poor Terry. I never thought I'd hear me saying that.
I never thought I'd hear you saying that.
I am human, Bob. I do have some compassion.
Even for Terry?
For any human being who's suffered. I suppose there's no chance of them...
No. It's It's definite.
Such a risk marrying a foreigner. And they're so physical, the Germans.
Yes, he said their relationship was very physical.
Oh, you've been into all that, have you?
We touched on it. He poured his heart out.
So you're still terribly upset?
I would think, looking at him, he's only just learnt to live with the pain.
Oh, poor Terry.
He's had precious little comfort coming home.
Poor boy.
So I thought the best thing would be if he comes and stays with me.
Certainly not.
He needs comfort, a shoulder to lean on, a helping hand.
Well, he's not leaning on your shoulder into the small hours. The two of you, giggling in the dark, discussing physical things. In the good old days when you were both free.
Where's all this human compassion gone?
Oh, it hasn't gone, love. I'm just saying I don't think the answer is him staying with you, going into the perils of marriage. I've got a much better idea.
What?
He can stay at my place.
He can't stay there.
It's the perfect answer. I mean, in these situations, a man needs a woman's sympathy.
Your parents are away.
Well, there'd be plenty of room.
You've never let me stay there when your parents have been away, never. I'm always having to make dawn departures. I'm always losing sleep and risking the breathalyzer.
You can't stay because of our situation, because of the neighbours. Be different for Terry. I mean, he'd be a guest, not a lover.
He'd be more than a guest given half the chance.
Well, I'm not going to give him half the chance.
I'm not saying you would, pet lamb. But you know what he's like. On a Friday night after he's had a skinful, he can't take no for an answer. He gets the red mist.
I can handle Terry.
That's what he'll be hoping. It won't make any difference to him. It won't make any difference to him that you and I are engaged. That won't stop him chancing his arm. That won't stop him laying siege at your bedroom door.
I'm making an effort to understand and know Terry. I mean, that was what you wanted, wasn't it? I mean, you were in here this morning telling me I was unreasonable because I wouldn't do that. Well, I mean, now I'm making the gesture. To be a friend to your friend.
I want you to be a friend to my friend. I just don't want my friend getting too friendly.
Well, I'm glad we're going to all be friends together. I can't say I'm not touched, Bob, by Thelma's offer. Can't say I'm not surprised either.
Well, you know what women are like. As soon as they sniff a bit of personal tragedy coming up, they want to mother you.
Yeah, well, I must say I don't mind being mothered by Thelma for a few days. Could open up a whole new chapter in our relationship.
Yeah, that's what I thought, so I put my foot down.
You put your foot down? Don't you want me to be a friend of Thelma's?
Of course I want you to be a friend of Thelma's. Oh, I can't have you staying there, man.
You don't trust me, do you? I am your best mate and you don't trust me.
Of course I trust you.
You think I'm going to be trying it on, don't you? In the middle of the night, you think I'll be...
Laying siege?
Laying siege at our bedroom door.
No, I don't, man. Good God, if I can't trust me best friend, who can I trust? Oh, it's the neighbours, man. I mean, what would they think? I mean, it's all right me staying there. I always stay there when her mother's away. But not a stranger. I mean, they're very small-minded, you know.
Aye, well, still it's a pity, though. It's a nice little house, Thelma's. I suppose I'll just have to make do with my own cold, empty freezing house. No food, no hot water bottle. I don't want to land myself on relatives because if this should turn out to be another dose of malaria, it's hardly Still, I can see your reasons for not wanting me to stay in the warmth and comfort of Thelma's home. And I can see why you didn't tell me all this until after I'd helped you put all these bookshelves up.
Where are you going?
Well, I thought I'd wander down to the bus terminal cafe, get a cup of OXO, stand next to the tea urn, I might get a bit of warmth.
Hey, I've got it. Of course you can stay here.
Here?
Well, it's the obvious place, isn't it, man? It's centrally heated, there's tea in the kitchen, there's a wireless, and there's a bed.
Where?
Give us a hand with this.
Eh?
Get the other end. Oh, Teddy, I often stay here, you know, trying to get this place together. Oh. I often come round here at night time, you know, and do a bit of decorating, you know, and sometimes Thelma comes round and gives me a hand.
Oh, I see. A bit of premarital decorating goes on, is it?
Well, I mean, I can't at her place. I mean...
I know, the neighbours.
What?
Seems very comfy, I will say that.
It'll be our spare bed. Go on, say you'll stay. I can't see you limping off into the night. You do look knackered.
All right, Bob, you're on.
Good lad. I'll get you some blankets.
Champion.
Right, now, I'll come round first thing in the morning and I'll bring you some eggs and a paper.
That's very good of you, mate.
Least I could do.
Hey, Bob,
Yeah?
you didn't trust me with Thelma, did you?
No, I bloody didn't.
Bob? Oh, darling, you've finished the shelves. Don't they look lovely? You must have worked so hard. And all I do is bitch on and be unreasonable. Sorry. I'll stay if you like. Do you want me to? You do, don't you? Don't you want me to stay? You don't want me to stay, do you? Well, do you want me to stay or don't you? It's all right, I'll stay. Do you know, Pet, I'm not sure about that seaweed green now. Don't wake up. God bless. Darling, are you awake? This little piggy went to market. This little piggy said, Bob. Bob.
Yes? Yes?
Bob,
What are you doing here?
what are you doing there?
Hello, Thelma. What are you doing here?
You fiends, the pair, I'm going to have a nervous breakdown.
You'd stop at nothing, would you?
What have I done? I've been out like a light since 10:30. I didn't know anything till three little piggies were galloping up my spine.
You devious
I told you to watch that hatch.